Good morning, I'm Craig Negrelli. It's Monday, February 3rd, 2025, and these are your Unbiased Updates. President Trump's right-hand man announces the shutdown of a government agency, which one Elon Musk is targeting, and what led to the closure. And the new week starts with tariffs and a possible trade war. President Trump levies fees on imported goods from Mexico, Canada, and China. Canada and Mexico quickly respond. Where things stand this morning and what might happen next.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world, these are today's Unbiased Updates.
Developing this morning, billionaire Elon Musk, who heads President Donald Trump's new Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, says the Trump administration is in the process of shutting down the U.S. Agency for International Development, better known as USAID, which funds foreign aid and internationally focused charities. In an early morning audio-only post on his social media platform X, Musk said the president agreed to close the agency hours after he called its leadership, quote, a bunch of radical lunatics. During a conversation on X Spaces just after midnight with Republican Senator Joni Ernst and Vivek Ramaswamy, who was initially named co-chair of DOGE but has since left, Musk said he had spoken with President Trump on the matter several times.
To be shutting down, which we're in the process of doing, shutting down USAID, the reason for that, as opposed to simply, trying to do some minor house cleaning, is that as we dug into USAID, it became apparent that what we have here is not an apple with a worm in it, but we have actually just a bowl of worms. And so at the point at which you don't merely, like, if you've got an apple that's got a worm in it, maybe you can take the worm out. But if you've got actually just a bowl of worms, it's hopeless. And USAID is a bowl of worms. Mm-hmm. There is no apple. And when there is no apple, you've just got to basically get rid of the whole thing.
Musk's announcement came after an incident Saturday in which USAID's director and deputy director of security were placed on administrative leave after they tried to stop DOGE employees from accessing secure USAID systems. It is up to Congress to determine how American taxpayer dollars are being spent, and Musk did not say what legal authority the White House has to shut down a federal agency without congressional approval. Musk also did not say specifically when the closing will happen. Today, crews will start clearing the wreckage of an American Airlines passenger jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter that collided in midair and then crashed into the Potomac River near Washington, D.C. last week. The Army Corps of Engineers will work alongside the Coast Guard and the Navy Supervisor of Salvage and Diving. They will start by removing the remnants of the jet from the water, which is expected to take 3 days. Once completed, they will work on getting the Black Hawk wreckage out of the water. Haulers will take the wreckage to a National Transportation Safety Board hangar for investigators to inspect as they work to determine exactly what led to the deadly collision near Reagan National Airport. This comes as the search continues for the remains of all those killed in the crash. As of their last update, federal authorities say that searchers have recovered and identified the remains of 55 of the 67 people killed in the crash. They say they do expect to recover all the bodies. However, low visibility in the frigid waters and the strewn about wreckage of both the aircraft and the helicopter are slowing the process. The Corps of Engineers says the goal is to have everything removed by next Wednesday, February 12th. However, if any remains are found while the wreckage is getting removed, work will immediately stop. Colonel Francis Pera, the commander of the Corps of Engineers Baltimore District, said, quote, the dignified recovery of missing flight passengers and personnel takes precedence over their timeline. On Sunday, an emotional scene as families of the victims gathered for a memorial on the runway at the airport at the edge of the Potomac River and viewed the site where their loved ones passed away. This morning, at least 5 people are still in the hospital after a medevac jet crashed into a residential neighborhood in Philadelphia Friday night, killing all 6 people on board the plane and 1 person who was in a car on the ground. Nearly 24 others were injured as the wreckage spanned 5 city blocks near northeast Philadelphia's Roosevelt Mall. In an update Sunday night, the city's mayor said 3 people are still in critical condition. While it's not yet known exactly what caused the crash, searchers did recover the Learjet's black box late yesterday afternoon. The plane had been in the air for less than 1 minute when it disappeared from radar and crashed into a neighborhood, with flames engulfing at least 5 homes. 11 houses in total sustained significant damage. Parked cars also caught fire. Witnesses say jet fuel was everywhere in the area. The 6 people on board the plane were all Mexican nationals, including a girl who had been treated for an illness at Shriners Children's Hospital in Philadelphia, and her mother. They were returning home to Tijuana, Mexico, after the girl's treatment. In fact, earlier in the day, caregivers at Shriners had given the girl a warm send-off as she was leaving the hospital. This morning, Canada has released its list of American products it will be imposing its own 25% tariffs on. The country's Department of Finance says the tariffs, which take effect tomorrow, will impact about $30 billion worth of goods imported from the United States, including everything from meat and liquor to hair care products. The move is in retaliation to the 25% tariffs President Trump levied against Canada and Mexico over the weekend in an effort to crack down on illegal immigration and curb America's fentanyl crisis. The Canadian Finance Department website says the tariffs will remain in place, quote, until the U.S. eliminates its tariffs against Canada, end quote. Mexico is also set to unveil its own tariffs against the United States today. President Trump addressed Americans' concerns over the impact these tariffs could have when speaking with reporters last night.
We may have short-term a little pain, and people understand that, but long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world. We have deficits with almost every country, not every country, but almost.
The president seemed unconcerned about retaliatory measures from Canada, saying, if they want to play the game, I don't mind. Trump also said he'd be speaking with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum this morning. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in Washington today, where he will meet with President Trump. This comes as the clock is ticking toward the deadline to begin talks with Hamas on extending the ceasefire in Gaza. Netanyahu's office did say he had agreed with Trump's Middle East envoy that, quote, negotiations on the second phase of the hostage deal will begin with their meeting in Washington. The ceasefire, which has now been in place for just over 2 weeks, is set to expire on March 1st. So far, hostages have been released by both sides, and Israeli troops have pulled back, allowing Palestinians to see what's left of their homes in Gaza. President Trump has floated the idea of relocating the Palestinians to other countries, such as Egypt and Jordan. Under terms of the ceasefire, talks with Hamas on the next phase are supposed to begin no later than today. So far, Israel has not given any indication it will honor that deadline. Finally this morning, history was made at music's biggest night, the Grammys, with Beyoncé winning her first Album of the Year award for her foray into country music, Cowboy Carter. She also won Best Country Album, becoming the first black woman in Grammys history to ever win in that category. Kendrick Lamar picked up 5 Grammys, including 2 of the night's most prestigious awards, Song and Record of the Year, for his track, Not Like Us. He dedicated them to fire-ravaged Los Angeles. Chappell Roan was named Best New Artist. During her acceptance speech, she urged the music industry to offer living wages and health care to up-and-coming artists. Also, Sabrina Carpenter won Best Pop Solo for her song Espresso. And DOGE won her first Grammy, taking home honors for Best Rap Album. Those are your unbiased updates for this Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.